Hey, welcome in. Well, one of my hopes is that this new left-wing cult, this new left-wing ideology, the critical race theory, the intersectionalism, all of the feelings over reality that we see taking over the Western world, one of my hopes is that it is so divisive and so irrational that it makes it fundamentally unstable and that it will just collapse under its own weight, because it's just not very fun to be a part of. It's not a fun group. You can't make jokes. You can't be lighthearted. You have to be on guard all the time, or else your own friends, the people around you, will immediately denounce you and try and ruin your life. Again, being woke isn't fun. You can't even laugh at anything. You can just laugh at, I guess, like 4 pre-approved jokes about Orange Man. I guess that's it. It's just not a fun movement at all. It just seems to make people unhappy and unstable and just apocalyptic and catastrophic in their outlook. But anyway, we have a good example of that. Youth protest group inspired by Greta Thunberg disbands. And what is it? Why did it disband? Why did it disband? It accused itself of racism. This is what I'm talking about when I say that, this it is kind of fundamentally unstable because it's so divisive. It turns its adherents against each other, because they're constantly looking for some new kind of oppression, because that's what the revolution feeds on. It needs it. And if there's nobody else around oppressing you, well, the person next to you will do just as well. You just got to watch them long enough until they do something that you can accuse them of blasphemy for. So, personally, I find this hilarious, and I think it's a good sign. So let's see, quote, under the suggestion and guidance of the BIPOC members, a New Zealand youth environmental protest group inspired by teen activist Greta Thunberg disbanded, accusing itself of racism. So I don't know, maybe a polar bear joined and they accused it of whiteness or something. Who knows? Anyway, School Strike for Climate's Auckland chapter wrote on June 12th. School Strike for Climate Auckland is disbanding as an organization. So a group of narcissistic children with an apocalyptic delusion of the future disbanded. Frankly, I think those kids are probably better off. This is under the suggestion and guidance of the BIPOC members of the group, as well as individual BIPOC activists and organizations. We are not holding any more climate strikes in the Auckland region. BIPOC communities are disproportionately affected by climate change, so the fight for climate justice should be led by their voices and needs, not a word I'm not going to pronounce, which means white New Zealanders. So when I talk about how it's fundamentally unstable, this is what I'm talking about. So they've just rejected friends. So supporters, they've said, butt out. We don't want you. Now, does that make their group stronger or weaker, you might ask? Well, I think that's fairly obvious. Anyway, the group continued that there was an urgent need to decolonize the organization. And also, by the way, modern medicine is colonial too. I mean, have we heard anybody saying that they refuse to accept colonialist, chemotherapy? I haven't really heard that. Or, they refuse to take a Tylenol when they have a headache? I haven't heard that either. Interesting. Oh, and if you want real colonization, cell phones. Cell phones are colonial technology. I'm sorry. You better give those up. But they're not going to do that, are they? Anyway, they continue on here. We are disbanding because since 2019, the group, as well as the wider national group, though we can't speak on their behalf, has been a racist white-dominated space. So this is a shocker to me. So School Strike for Climate, the whole national group has been a racist white-dominated space. So there you have it. All the climate action so far has been racist. And it's racist because there's too many white people. And there's no irony there at all. None whatsoever. And if you think that statement itself is racist, you probably just want polar bears to die. So let's see. This group of vile racists has avoided, ignored, and tokenized BIPOC voices and demands, especially those of Pacifica and Maori individuals in the climate action space. Did you hear that, Greta? Did you hear that, you vile racist Greta Thunberg? You inspired this whole thing. I mean, you're practically Goebbels, I would say. At least according to at least according to the new rulers of the student climate, whatever they're called. Anyway, as well as this, the responsibility and urgent need to decolonize the organization has been put off for far too long. And by that, I'm assuming that they mean they haven't kicked all the white people out for far too long. So let's see. The group has also delayed paying financial reparations for the work BIPOC groups, individuals within and alongside the group have done for this organization in the past. So they want money from the organization. So I guess the money people have donated, they want it. I don't know, maybe to buy electric cars. Who knows? Let's see. We apologize for the hurt, burnout, and trauma caused to many BIPOC individuals, including current and past members. We also apologize for the further trauma caused by our slow action to take responsibility. We recognize that this apology can never be enough to make up for our actions on top of years of systemic and systematic oppression, racism, and the silencing of those who are most affected by climate change. So apparently this group, School Strike for Climate, is just a horrible, horrible organization, just brutally oppressing everybody who doesn't look like Greta Thunberg. So again, just to get to the original point of this doesn't feel like something that can last. This is so destructive. It's so alienating, as well as apparently delusional. I mean, are we really meant to believe that the people in this group were horribly oppressed by the other people in this group based on race? Are we really supposed to believe that? I mean, look at the complaints here, the hurt. Well, what is the hurt? Did somebody disagree with you? You don't have a right to everybody agreeing with you all the time or to never be offended by anything, especially when you're incredibly touchy and sensitive. Burnout. Well, tough things, difficult things require a lot of work. I mean, with all things in life, you get what you put in. You get out what you put in. Like you should expect to be tired by doing something that I would assume you care about a lot and you want to work hard at. And the trauma caused by the student group, in which everybody agrees with each other on the basic things. And again, I don't think that they accidentally joined like some far-right environmental group, right? I think that this sounds absurd and insane and self-defeating. And so, yes, it does feel as if this insane new ideology, this insane new dogma, this essentially cult is going to collapse at some point. It hasn't yet. I'm wondering when. Because it seems like there's just this magic spell over the Western world where you can just say these magic words, these incantations about racism and oppression, and direct it at just any idea you don't like, and it renders everybody mute. I think it's going to just be up to just normal, regular people to peacefully and respectfully break the spell and say, no, actually, I don't agree with that. You can believe that, but I don't. Because I think that there is this delusion that these weird fringe ideas are held by a lot more people than they actually are. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Please subscribe, like, and share. That really helps me out. If you just like to listen, there's the podcast Radio Baloney. It's on pretty much every platform. If you look for it, you will find it. See you next time.